Hi, welcome to this live stream. My name is Corinna. I am running my own coaching practice, but today I am here as a volunteer, building a community of volunteers, of coaches who are running a successful coaching practice to help other peers out, other coaches, to build successful coaching businesses. And today I'm starting a new series of interviews with coaches who have built their own practices and have learned from it. And it's a 3C series, Coaches and Coffee with Coachilly, where I invite these coaches to share what inspired them to get into coaching and to share a little bit about what they have learned along the way, to impart that with you. Hopefully you will learn something from it, and hopefully it's also inspiring to you. And I have my first guest on the show today. Her name is Danelle Rush. Hi, Danelle.
Hello. Let me clear my throat again. I am so grateful to be here. I think what you're doing is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, thank you for making yourself available. We had a brief chat previously, and you're so courageous doing this as the first guest on the show, because you don't know how this is going to go. I could do anything right now.
Hey, but that's part of the adventure. It's fun. You learn as you go, right?
That's a coaching mindset. That's really great. Yeah, Danelle, without, kind of talking about like what we're going to talk about, let's talk directly about the topics at hand. What inspired you to become a coach?
Well, I always had this passion to strengthen people, this heart for just encouraging people where they're at, and encouraging them to move forward to where they're going, right? And so it started with coffee. Like, my favorite thing to do is have coffee, which is what I love about what you're doing, is this coaches and coffee thing. So it started at coffee, and I was just having coffee with random people at church. There you go, right? And what I found out is when you're having coffee with something during that time, people tend to start sharing the difficulties that they're facing in life. And the more I heard about these difficulties, the more I wanted to help them. I wanted them to leave that coffee time with me strengthened and encouraged to overcome the obstacles that they were facing. And so I just started digging into self-development and self-growth and, all the things that I could learn to help people. And this was before I even realized that coaching was something that I was going to become a part of. This was just something that was in me, that was naturally like a natural desire in me to do anyways. So there came a time in my career where I felt like something new was coming, but I was unsure what that was. I could just feel it. And I started stepping back and really looking and paying attention to what was going on in me and what was, what God was trying to tell me in that moment. And I had this friend that said, "Hey, have you ever thought about life coaching? Because you already kind of do it and you're really good at it." And I was like, "Oh, what is this life coaching thing?" Right. And so I looked into it and I was like, wow, I really like this. And so I began training with another coach for life coaching. And the more I trained, like each time I went, I was so excited to go. Every time I was meeting with him, I couldn't wait to learn more and more about it, because I was just falling in love with life coaching. And it was that desire that was in me that connected to what I was learning. And I'm like, this is it.
What is it that made you fall in love with coaching? What is it that got you so hooked?
I think, part of it, it's just that passion that was already in me, already feeling that passion to help strengthen people, and coaching and learning how to coach and the tools that I was learning helped me do that better for people. It was about, I think what was in me that I fell in love with it, it wasn't necessarily about me. It was about them and helping them. And when you help other people, when you give, value to other people, when you encourage them, there's something inside of you that just grows even more. passionate. And so even though it's not about you and it's about them, I think that part of it in me is what I fell in love with.
Oh, that's great. It resonates with me because it's very energizing. I had a very late night yesterday. I had a lot of clients that wanted Wednesday. So it was a long night last night, but it was, I didn't go to bed drained. I felt very energized. And
exactly.
So that really resonates with me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when your passion connects with what you're doing, it does exactly that. It energizes you and it just fuels you, and you wake up looking forward to the next day. And like you said, you may have had a late night and you may have got, not as much sleep as you would hope to have, but you still wake up energized and ready to go. And then the opposite is true. When you're not in that passion, when you're not working in that passion or doing that passion, I mean, I've experienced it in my own life. Like, you get drained quickly and you're de-energized and you wake up already tired. You're not looking forward to the next day. So when those things connect within you, it's exactly that. It ignites and that you're energized.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know what inspired you, and I think that's phenomenal. But how did you then get started? You said earlier that you got your first education through the coach, probably experiencing coaching for yourself, right? And learning something from there. And is that also how you continued your journey?
I definitely found a coach that could train me, and finding a good coach that trains you is definitely key. And so I was definitely blessed to have a friend that was doing coaching that was able to train me. And then part of it too is still trying to figure out this new journey that I was going to go on. I was talking with God a lot about it, and I picked up my Bible and I was reading it. And what I started noticing in my Bible was these different verses that were highlighted. And next to these verses were words that I had written, probably years ago, or along the years of my life. I would just write these words as notes on the side of these verses. And so there was these 3 words that just kept popping out, that kept sticking out, and they were encourage, equip, and empower. And so what I realized, what hit me in that moment was, this is, something that I have been doing my entire life, and these words matter. And they were ways to help people. It was to encourage them. It was to equip them. It was to empower them. And so I just dug deeper into those words, like learning the, Greek definitions to them and what they meant and everything. And it hit me that my purpose all along, I had been walking in it and I just didn't realize it. And I was continuing to walk in it. And now it was going just to another level, I guess. But it was always something that I was doing. And so these 3 words that were so powerful to me became my purpose, became my coaching business name, and became the strategies for helping people, which is 3E coaching. And so those words, encourage, equip, empower, to move forward, is my purpose and what I've been doing all along.
Yeah, I just added it down there at the bottom, right? To see that. That's just phenomenal to hear that story. So 3E coaching, encourage, equip, empower. That's easy to remember too. Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that. So as you build your business, I'm sure you have learned a lot of things along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So the next question goes along the lines of like, I wish I knew then what I know now, kind of, to impart something with others. And so what do you see as the biggest contributor to your success?
The biggest contributor to my success that I've experienced as meeting with clients, and, you learn from each time, right? So you have those moments with clients where you're like, oh, that didn't go so well, and you got to get used to that. You got to get comfortable with making mistakes, because you're not going to get it right all the time, and you're definitely not going to get it right as you start. But just, let your heart do the speaking. And so the biggest thing that I have learned that has contributed to my success is to listen to hear. Listen to them, because their heart will tell them the answers. And it's not about what you think, it's about what they already know. And so you need to listen to hear that for them, instead of listening to respond with what you think is best.
Oh, that's great. That's great to share. Danelle, what is that you focus on? What's your target group?
I love the go-getters. And the reason that I love the go-getters is sometimes go-getters can get like kind of a stigma against them, right? They're just going to run over people to get what they want. But there's another side of go-getters, and go-getters love to move things forward, right? But they hit these obstacles that get in their way. And it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong when you hit these obstacles. It means that you are moving somewhere, you're going somewhere, and you've just come up against something. And so when go-getters get moving with something that they're passionate, that they're called to do, that inspires them, like they will go full force. And it's so neat to see, what they do. And so what I have noticed with go-getters is when they hit these obstacles and they get pulled back and it's something that's going to hold them back, that's when you try to do whatever it takes to get through it, right? And that's when you may get the bad stigma of, oh, I'm just going to run over whatever to get it. But when you overcome those obstacles with the right tools in the right way, and then you just bust through and you go forward, you will actually be more of a go-giver than a go-getter. And so that's what I'm looking for, is those go-getters that are maybe being held back a little bit and need to learn the right ways to overcome those obstacles.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So can you tell a story maybe from, one of your client encounters or anything that you've experienced in your coaching that is maybe the funniest or maybe the most endearing thing?
The most endearing thing is having a front row seat as a coach, having a front row seat to witnessing the breakthroughs that God is having in people's life while coaching. Like that is the most rewarding thing. When you see whatever it is that the client is struggling with, whatever that obstacle is that has held them back, and they see how to overcome that, and that light bulb moment comes on, you just see God's peace come over them, like immediately, almost like you see that they're lighter and they're inspired and they're strengthened. And having a front row seat to that, to witnessing that, it's so rewarding.
Yeah, you have a specific moment where you witnessed that in a client where the light bulb came on?
Oh gosh, you would ask that, right? Let me think. Okay, so there was this when I first started getting into coaching, and I was meeting with this friend of mine, and he was struggling with starting over. He had this vision and this dream and this passion for something, right? And so these visionaries are so fun, right? They have ideas all over the place, and their mind is all like kind of cluttered up, and the knots are all in there. And as we're talking, as I'm asking questions, you can see it unravel and become clear. And in that moment, what they tend to do is say the right answers instead of the honest answers. And I just kind of kept asking those questions, and let's get to the real why of what you're doing. And when he heard himself speak out the real why and what he's doing, it was just that moment. It was like, wow, that's it, right? And from that moment forward, he just took off and created this new business. And it's just amazing to see what he's done with this business. But he had to get to that real why first,
Thanks for sharing that. I loved how you said when he started saying the honest things instead of just the things you're supposed to say, right? The right things. And that's what we're trying to do. Or, we go into a job interview, we're there to perform. We go and present in front of executives, and we're there to perform, right? It's there to say the right things that people need to hear or should hear, not necessarily how we really feel on the inside. And coaching will allow you to be vulnerable there and really achieve that personal growth. So I really love how you shared that just now. So we've come to the end of our time together. I really enjoyed this. Way too short.
I can talk about it for hours.
That's very true, right? And that's how most coaches feel, at least if they love their profession and they got into it because they really love what they do. So I left, a note down below how they can connect with you, and I'll drop this in, below the YouTube video as well. So there's a direct link to you. Thank you so much.
Is this what they do on YouTube? Do they
this
still
is
do
what
that?
they do, right? Like, come here. It's already there. And so thank you so much for joining. I wish I could give you a hug or shake your hand, whatever, but thank you so much for coming and doing this. I'm really grateful that you made it to this first call. Guys, you can also connect with me or with Coachilly directly through Insta and Twitter. You can also join the private Facebook group. You have to be a coach in order to be admitted there. And if you're interested in, or maybe you are considering becoming a coach and you're really interested in building your own coaching practice and want the support of peers who volunteer to jump in and share information with you, then join the private Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, I say goodbye.
Thank you, Corinna.
Thank you.